Randy and Carol McKee here with Soccer 605. We have a great report for you tonight about the Harrisburg School Board action. Not many school board meetings that you go to, you get to see a standing ovation, but we got to see a very well-deserved standing ovation after a vote by the Harrisburg School Board tonight. The first clip we're going to see here is Superintendent Jim Holbeck asking Activities Director Scott Vandermillen about his recommendations.
I don't think we got people on both sides of the issue here, do we? All right. So, Scott, why don't you go ahead and just talk to us about what are our decisions that we could be making here?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I sent you some documents over the weekend and a recommendation with that, and we're having the same discussion that we had a year ago at this time, and some of the dollars have changed, obviously, as Jim has talked about, but also from a budgetary standpoint, we talked about some additional capital outlay dollars to fund uniforms a year ago. Well, that's obviously out of the picture because we spent those dollars a year ago. So you have the projections in front of you in terms of the information that I've provided you. And my recommendation is simply that we move forward in terms of sanctioning this, and I don't want to take a lot of your time. I'd like to leave a little more time for you to ask questions, not necessarily all of me, but maybe of folks in the audience. So if I could do that at this time, I'd be more than happy to.
Scott, my first question is, last year and again in the document you said there's an approved transition time. Are you looking at that 5-year window, or are you looking at mixing that and just going all in?
I don't want to get into the transition period, no. I want to sanction it now, schedule it now, pay the bills now.
Just go all in.
Right.
And then we all got a big surprise.
So, comments from the audience.
I don't see a need for it, Jim. I'm going to make a motion to sanction boys and girls soccer in the 2013-14 school year.
Second it.
Any other questions or discussions? I do want to say thank you to everybody for your support here. It's very evident, unless I didn't see any hands saying no. I'm pretty confident there. But board, any other questions?
And it's not that we don't appreciate you showing up, but we want you to know right away that we're feeling in support of you. So you can try to sell us a lot, but I don't think you have to.
And some of our phones blew up huge the last week, over the last weekend. So,
In good ways. Any other questions or discussions? Hearing none, all in favor of sanctioning soccer for Harrisburg sports?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And after that surprise, it took us a few minutes to gather up everybody and visit with them a little bit. But we did have an opportunity then to talk with Scott Vandermillen about the historic move. And Randy, you visited with him a little bit. All right, well, Soccer 605, we're visiting with Athletic Director for Harrisburg School District, Scott Vandermillen. You guys just had the school board meeting, and we had some phenomenal news that came out of there tonight. Can you tell us about what led up to this point tonight?
Well, I think it's been a year in progress. We had the same discussion as we talked tonight. We had the same discussion with our board a year ago, and they had some financial constraints that meant that they couldn't sanction soccer at the time, but they knew that we would come back a year from now and have the same discussion. And things are a little bit better in education this year, and so we have the resources to do it. So we're going to move forward with sanctioning soccer and join about a dozen of the other school districts in the state so far that have chosen to do it.
That was phenomenal news. You had great support here from the soccer community, the coaches here. People were ready to stand up and testify and support the measure to sanction. They didn't even need to do that.
Yeah, I think that there's been enough support over the last year, and soccer's been something that's been very strong in our community, not just for the last year, but the last few years, not only from a success standpoint, but in terms of the parental support. So we knew that it was a decision that had to be made at some point.
So you probably are going to have a few things that you're going to need to be doing here in terms of planning out schedules and things of that sort, correct?
Absolutely. We've got some things to do, but there's some time to do it, and we're glad that the decision was made tonight.
Oh, and we're all happy for you, too. We're looking forward to seeing your Harrisburg Tigers playing Sanctions soccer this fall.
We appreciate you guys coming out and supporting soccer.
One last thing, Scott. Randy, you're off camera, but it was very obvious to everybody in there that most of the weight on that decision in terms of facilities, financing, timing, the whole thing was based on your report to the school board.
Well, I had made a recommendation, and based on the support that we gotten from the community over the last couple of years, it only made sense that our school district step up and make that commitment to kids just as we do in other sanctioned activities. So.
Outstanding.
Well, we've continued to be impressed with the Harrisburg School District in terms of your progressive approach to everything. It was nice to be able to be here and see the awards, all the awards that your staff have received as well. Obviously, Harrisburg is a community that's moving forward and not waiting for anybody else. We really want to commend you on that, and we look forward, as I said, to seeing your teams out there playing sanctioned soccer.
Once again, I appreciate it. Thank you.
The Harrisburg coaches were there to lend support, and we caught up with both of them. Here's boys coach Nick Stebbin. Soccer 605 here with Nick Stebbins, the head coach at Harrisburg High. We just got out of this school board meeting, and they kind of took all the fun out of it, didn't they?
Yeah, we're looking at the sanctioning soccer as a sport with all these high schools, and I know T's went for it, and then today was a meeting, and I work for Dakota Alliance, and we really back sanctioning, and I wanted to be here since I'm the head coach for the boys soccer team since last year, and I was going to stand up and back up our hope that we would be sanctioned at some point. I didn't even have to. They all just were ready to sanction it. It was great.
I had my camera zoomed in on you because I saw you getting ready to get up, and that would just, I think everybody in there was stunned except the school board members.
Yeah, most definitely. It was really nice to see.
Well, that's fantastic news, and so now I guess you'll get to come down here and apply for the high school coach job through the school board now, huh?
Yeah, that's the plan. I won't have to go through Dakota Alliance, I'll just go straight to the school. That's great.
All right, well, fantastic. Well, thanks for being here, and we'll be excited to watch this thing as it transpires.
Most definitely. Thank you.
Nick sure seemed happy about that, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that was really nice. I'm glad that Katie Keppen was able to be there as well, the head varsity girls coach, and that you had a chance to visit with her.
Yeah, we did. She's a coach of last year's 8 champs, and you can tell during this interview that I'm still kind of in stunned disbelief because I'm still talking about them being in AA next year instead of being in sanctioned soccer. But what a great interview. Everybody was pretty happy.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer 605 here with the head girls coach at Harrisburg, Katie Keppen. We had quite a surprise, I think, for a lot of people in that school board meeting tonight.
Yeah, it was great. It just happened immediately, and I think it was wonderful.
Well, like the superintendent said, things have changed since they last considered it and turned it down, but I think one of the major issues that was very obvious was the community support for sanctioning.
Yeah, we've had a good turnout of community support, and I know our athletic director's always been in support of it and had that 5-year plan and just really wanted to get it in, and finally all the cards kind of fell together and worked out for us tonight.
Well, it sure did. I'm still sitting here kind of stunned because I thought we would hear some disagreement among board members or at least some resistance, and there was like zero.
Yeah, it was great. I really didn't know what to expect when I got here and saw that the agenda said no action. I thought, oh no, this isn't sounding good, and a couple questions of Mr. Vandermillen, and it was a done deal, so wonderful.
Speaking of resistance, you get to go play with the AA's this coming season. How do you feel about that?
We're excited. We're excited to be part of the new ESD and just Harrisburg growing and things changing, and we're ready to take on the challenge.
Well, you got a great growing community down here, and you're a good part of it, and we sure look forward to watching you as a sanction coach as soon as we can.
Great, thank you.
Katie did a great job as well. They have excellent coaches in Harrisburg, and I'm looking forward to seeing them playing at the full sanction level and seeing them at the sanction tournament this next year. And also we had a chance to catch up with a few of the very, very happy Harrisburg varsity girls players. Here's an interview with them. Soccer 605, we're here with some of the Harrisburg Tigers varsity soccer team. And I just want to, if you ladies would tell us what your names are.
I'm Rachel. My name's Hannah. I'm Courtney.
And so ladies, you came for the meeting where they were going to discuss sanctioning soccer, and you got here, and what news did you hear?
We got sanctioned.
What do you think about that?
I'm really excited about it.
What kind of difference is it going to make for you guys to have it sanctioned?
Well, we'll all be able to ride a bus together. That's going to be a lot better instead of having like a ton of cars going in a line down to Rapid City and far places away.
Well, and you guys have had great support for all your soccer games here in Harrisburg. I know a lot of times when we come out to video your games, the football players are all here and everybody else is here supporting. So that's probably not going to change that much for you, is it?
No, I think they'll be able to support us.
But it'll be nice to be able to get on the bus and do some activities on the bus, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations, ladies. We're really happy for you that it's sanctioned, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you playing in the sanctioned tournament this year.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
After the interview, I got to visit with some of the players and got to talk to them about maybe going home and getting a dictionary and finding out the meaning of the term anticlimactic, because that's really
Well,
what we
it
saw
kind
there.
of was. I mean, there's all the tension and the nerves and it was just on there that the agenda said no action. It was a discussion about sanctioning of high school soccer. So we went in and set up the cameras and we're all ready to listen to what the discussion is. And boy, talk about a Tiger Nation. They really got out there and they were at the meeting supporting this high school soccer movement. And by the way, I thought the chair, Juanita Schmunk, did an excellent job running that meeting. I hadn't been to a school board meeting for quite some time, and I was really pleased and happy to be there. And we actually got to see, before we even got to the soccer part, we got to see several staff members get recognized and get awards, and they got an Apple Distinguished School Award while we were there. And it was really nice to see that, because we're out there supporting the student athletes, and we all remember that they're students first. And obviously they're doing a lot of right things in that progressive school district.
Well, and you can see just, by what they're doing down there, the schools, the facilities, the amount of time they're putting in and effort into the students. And, you obviously are looking at a school district, and not just because of soccer, but, they're obviously a school district that's really on the move there.
Yeah, they're very progressive.
I was, and really, watching the clip, you had to almost see the stunned silence of people when they didn't even have to take any comments because I think it was the vice chair, wasn't it, Josh Sisson, that made that motion?
I believe it was Josh Sisson who made the motion. And actually, immediately after Scott Vandermillen had made his recommendations, they offered the opportunity for people to speak. But then I think it was Josh Sisson, jumped in and said, I don't want to take away your opportunity to make comments here, but you might as well know how we're feeling about it tonight. He asked a couple clarification questions with Scott, and made it very clear that they didn't want to go with any 5-year stumble along plan, that they wanted to just bite the bullet and put it in place this fall. Made it very clear that it was for the school year of 2013-2014. Made the motion, and it was quickly seconded by, I believe it was Marlon Jones. And across the board, as you see on the video that we have of the vote, people just voted a unanimous vote. There was no questions, and there was kind of a stunned silence for a second there, and then the applause and the standing ovation immediately.
On the way out of the building, then after all the interviews and everything were done, we got to meet a very happy John Lowes from Harrisburg, who I'm sure has been very instrumental in having people contact the board members, organizing, and that's one thing that there was just a constant chord there about the community support.
Yes, there was. They talked about the support of everybody for them, for the school, and that their support was very strong for soccer. I think it was Michelle Shirato on the school board who said her phone had been ringing off the hook for last week. She really didn't feel like they needed to hear anymore, and they assumed there was no negative, no one there to speak against it, and there was not.
So anyway, we get done. Carol gets on Twitter, of course, right away and starts tweeting out, and we have seen the Twitter universe just exploding, and and we're getting a lot of the good folks up in Brookings who are taking their proposal to their school board soon, retweeting, and we're seeing a lot of that around the Sioux Falls area too.
Well, as you mentioned, the Twitterverse just was exploding, as is the Facebook. Social media is a great way to get the word out quickly, so I just tweeted out the vote, that it was a unanimous vote, and Harrisburg was going to be having sanctioned soccer, and within seconds it was being retweeted, comments coming back. We've heard from people in Brookings, Pierre, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and the one question everybody is asking is, when is Sioux Falls going to do it? When is Rapid City? When is Brookings? They all want to know when it's going to happen in their community, and honestly, you have to wonder along with them, but I think everyone feels that it's inevitable that it's going to happen, It's just a matter of when and whether we want to punish these players that are going to be there this fall by making them wait longer, or whether they're going to go ahead and put it in place for everybody right away.
And I think some of the districts, to their defense, budgets are already made and that sort of thing. But the reality is that it's not a matter of if anymore; it's just a matter of when.
And really, the cost of a soccer budget has got to be such a minuscule percentage of any school budget.
Well, and that's what they're telling us. The one thing that we are learning, from T last week, from Harrisburg this week, from Garrettson several weeks ago, is the community support, the community involvement, those hundreds of phone calls, and just the general support of sanctioning, and that's what is getting the job done.
Yeah, it is. It's the communication, not waiting for the school board meeting to come in and have an argument with anybody, but to talk with your school board members and your school staff and superintendent and your athletic director, and give them everything that they need to help them make an informed decision, and let them know that the community is there to support them. Because really, these programs were already a complete package. They're already in place. Everything's there. It's just a matter of moving them from here in the club or the association over into the school.
Yeah.
And if you can help with that transition, and a lot of us, the parents have already been paying, or the associations are already paying, so the funding is already going there for it. If they can just figure out some appropriate ways to transfer that flow of support to the school to keep the program going, if that's what's required.
Okay. Well, I better figure out an appropriate way to transfer this video onto the internet so you can watch it.
Okay.
So thanks for checking in on Soccer 605. Again, congratulations to the Harrisburg School District. Just a very fantastic job done by your school board tonight. They deserve that standing ovation.
They certainly did.
Thanks for checking in.